Hello and welcome back to the Arsenal podcast. We come to you on a Monday evening. We planned to come to you yesterday, but I'll be honest, as your host, I consumed half a bottle of bourbon for my birthday on Saturday, so I probably wasn't sure it was such a good idea. So we've had about 24 hours to digest the... It took it out of me, I have to be honest, watching that game in my relatively hungover state, but... a fantastic result it was. Yes, we're here. We're here once again to talk everything Arsenal, and let's see what comes up on that. And I'm delighted to welcome back to the show, Mr. Diamond Jack.
Hello. I don't know if anyone can tell from my vocal cords, but I was at the game yesterday. It was quite good. Bloody cold, but very good.
It was cold, yeah, because I was going to go up to the game. But what happened? I was promised a ticket not from my season, from the guy who sits to my season ticket holding friend. But obviously, because of the stature of the game, everyone sort of turned up and said, "No, yeah. I'm not giving you my ticket," which is fair enough. Mm-hmm. So it would have been a nice thing to have on my birthday, but never mind. And say it was quite cold. And so I'll come to you on your viewpoint from being at the game just when Welbeck scored, but also with us this evening is Rob. Hello, Rob.
Hello, back again.
Yes, and we've got some. You've got an interesting story about a certain goal celebration, I believe, and we'll come on to that and probably extend on that a little bit also. So it just seemed like it was going to be another one that got away. Obviously, with Leicester game I'm talking about. It was a tough game. We knew how they were going to play. And it just seemed like they picked us off. I was a bit more concerned that Vardy would pick Mertesacker off a bit more. So I think credit has to go there a little bit. And then the sending off change the guns happened really. And then Danny Welbeck came on. And yes, it was. I lost my what when he scored, as I'm sure you two did. So yeah, I'll come straight to you, Jack.
Hello.
When Mr. Welbeck, that guy, scored.
Yes.
What actually happened in the ground?
It went apoplectic.
Right.
It was. I was saying to someone today that it was one of the few occasions that I can remember being at the Emirates where it's just absolutely the roof has just come off the building. It was reminiscent of the goal that Arshavin scored against Barcelona. It was that loud. It was crazy. It was absolutely bonkers, and potentially a goal that means more than that goal in the long run.
Indeed.
But I thought that it was such a fantastic game overall. There were so many positives from both sides, and both sides can take those positives away. But yeah, it was such a good atmosphere, and everyone got behind the team.
So, I mean, let's sort of look at the game from a wider point of view. I think we did a bang-up job on Mahrez, big time. There were 4 on him at least all the time. I mean, there has to be. I know when Danny Simpson got sent off, and we'll come on to that a little bit, he was taken off. And I was a little bit surprised because I thought that would be Albrighton, and I see Mahrez as a harder... His work rate is higher than Albrighton. Albright's a good player. But I thought, especially on the counter-attack, potentially to get out. Although, and I suppose at that stage they were 1-0 up and they were just defending, because a win would almost certainly put us out of the title race. Mm. So, I mean, what was your view on Mahrez? Coming to you, Rob. What did you think?
Yeah, he was pretty quiet from most accounts, which was good for us, really, because he is the one that does the most danger. Going forward for them, obviously, as well as Vardy. But yeah, I mean, I don't really remember him do anything in the game. Like, he went down very cheaply, /dived for a second penalty. Yeah. In the second half. And really, that's the only time I remember him doing something in the whole game, to be quite honest. So, he was quiet, which, seeing as he destroyed Man City for his goal last week, was pretty good for us, and good defending for us as well.
Yeah, I think perhaps we shouldn't be that surprised, because we did keep him pretty quiet at the King Power, when we played Leicester and beat them 5-2. I mean, Jack, were you expecting more from Mahrez?
I was expecting more from Mahrez and Vardy, personally. I think that far and away their best two players were Kasper Schmeichel and N'Golo Kante.
Yeah.
Kante was unbelievable. Exactly the kind of player that we need at Arsenal, in my opinion. And I've always rated Peter. I almost said Peter Kasper Schmeichel. I've always rated Kasper Schmeichel since he was, in the lower leagues and stuff, and thinking, when's it going to be that he's going to be on a side that's challenging for the title? And I think now, and I've said it before, I think with De Gea potentially leaving Manchester United coming up in the next summer, would it be the time for him to follow in his dad's footsteps and go to Manchester United? But yeah, I just, I think that performance from Mahrez, listen, it's one of those, it reminded me of Bobby Pires getting substituted in the Champions League final. He's a very creative player, but, you talk about work rate. I think there are players in that have a higher work rate than him. Yes, Brighton doesn't necessarily, but there are other players in there that would go a bit further for him, like that Ogazaki. I think he's got a higher work rate as well, and I could have seen him getting substituted on another day as well.
Yeah, I mean, he came off eventually for I think it was Joe, wasn't it?
Yeah, but at that moment, you know what I mean. And if he'd left Mahrez on, I'd have seen him, being substituted. But I do kind of see where Ranieri was coming from with that, because you need work rate in there against our kind of passing technique.
I guess we'll come on to the penalty, basically. Now, Jack almost exploded at me when I suggested it wasn't. It was a penalty. So I'll come to you with this. And perhaps this might be. I feel it would be more of a rant had we lost or even drawn. But I'll what was your view on it, basically?
It's never a penalty. It's diving. There's no other way it should be defined apart from diving. Now, I can see why the referee's giving it. I can see why he's giving it, but that doesn't mean it's a penalty. That means it's playing the referee and playing his, and forcing his hand in a situation where he's unsighted. Now, for me, Monreal has not done the best piece of defending there, and yes, he has left his leg in, but at no point is his foot towards Jamie Vardy and made him fall over like that. Jamie Vardy is run into his leg, and that isn't a foul. That's why it's not a penalty.
Okay, but I think I would base my opinion on precedent of what has gone before. So whether that is correct or not, I think Monreal was... The thing is, and his leg was out, and then he sort of did he did like a limbo dance, which suggests that he made a mistake, in my opinion.
Well, potentially, but I think that
I mean, what I'm saying,
he did something quite similar when Riyad Mahrez jumped over his leg as well, which again was a complete and utter dive, and he should have been booked for that. Mahrez should have been booked for that dive. That's a horrendous piece of cheating. And all these Leicester fans coming out and going, Arsenal fans, getting on the referee's back and that kind of... I thought the referee was crap for most of the game, personally. I thought he was awful. He didn't get much right. Before the penalty was even awarded, Ozil should have had a foul on him towards the edge of their area.
Absolutely.
It was horrendous pieces of refereeing. But I've seen it a couple of times. I saw it in the ground, and I think that it's very harsh. If that's what we're calling a penalty now, of running into players and people slightly mistiming the position of their leg, that's just bonkers. It's mental what that can be given as a penalty now.
True, but you've seen that happen before, haven't you?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean it's right.
No,
you know what I mean?
No.
That doesn't mean... And I see what you mean about precedent, but at the same point, if we're going to move on from this, we need to set new precedent. You know what I mean? Of that's not a penalty, that is a penalty. And if the referee is 100% sure that it's a penalty, then he has to give it. Take, for example, the Raheem Sterling one in the Tottenham Man City game. I know everyone saw it.
Right.
How can that be a penalty? That's ridiculous. There's no way that's a handball. It goes back to this thing about consistency in refereeing, because it seems like every week now we're getting decisions go against us.
It's not just us. It's not just against us that it goes to.
I just watch us most. That's all it is.
Okay, yeah. Fair enough. But yeah, I don't know. But it's really difficult to have a level of consistency as a referee. It's because, what is if you were to draw up? I mean, you could draw up a referee's handbook, which is 1 page long, and then that's it.
Be better.
Yeah, be better in hell, right? But I think it's a thankless job at the best of times. So, and when you got 60,000 fans almost paying for your blood at times. I think it's difficult to,
Yeah, I agree, but I think that there needs to be some kind of refereeing standard, even more so than there is at the moment. If you think, why does the best league in the world not go around and handpick, referees from around the world, not even to come in and referee in the Premier League?
I'm glad you said, because I think we should do this.
But just have a consultancy role to it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
if they can't come in and referee the league, come in at least as a consultancy level and go, well, where do you think that happened? Where do massive companies do this every single day. They get people who are successful in their roles.
Yeah.
To come in and almost, tutor people to become on their level.
Well, this is what Southampton said. I can't remember exactly. I wrote about it about a year ago. And it was when Mark Clattenburg called. He suggested to Adam Lallana that he was a diving. He didn't swear at him or anything. And then Southampton, they were not happy basically, and they, because of the refereeing body is essentially it's run by the FA. Fair enough, but what Southampton argued is they wanted to have an independent jury, which I think would be a very good idea. And obviously, the FA they dismissed the appeal or the claim out of hand just because it's the FA and this is a kind of that sort of it's that sort of institutions, the Soho Square kind of brand. And it's like no, that's absolutely rubbish, etc. Rob, I mean, what was your view? Was it a penalty? Be honest.
I'm also on the lines of I can definitely see why it was given. I mean, it's strange. It's almost as if Monreal's unlucky and also really naive at the same time, because he has been done by what I would probably say is quite good. I don't want to say play acting, but good.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
you're struggling for the word.
I don't think you can call Jamie Vardy a cheat.
Yeah, because he's English. If it's Alexis Sanchez, he gets called a cheat. This is the thing. If that Alexis Sanchez does that and goes down and rolls over 3 times, he gets called a cheat. But because he's Jamie Vardy and because he's English, the English media will not call him a cheat. They'll call it a great piece of advantage playing or deceiving the referee.
Opportunism was the word I was using.
Rubbish. Cheating. That's what it is.
Okay. I'm trying not to get you into a rant, but I almost want you to.
I'm not in a ranting mood. We won the game, man.
Exactly. Save that for.
Rob, what I'm trying to say, mate, is if you're struggling to reword it to not condone his actions, because I know you're not doing that, but if you're struggling to rename it anything apart from deceiving the referee or play acting, you got to come back to those 2 words, surely.
Well, yeah, that's true.
But it is something.
Yeah, but it is something that you do see. It's not just Vardy. It is something that you see it quite a lot of, and I think in other places like Spain and on the continent, it is something that gets applauded sometimes. That you con the referee and got a foul there. That's what I mean.
Sorry, so whilst we're on this subject of continent, I can't help but, before I forget, bring up the Messi Suarez penalty from last night. How Perez and Henry
disrespectful.
It was completely disrespectful, wasn't it? But that's how you do it.
He meant to pass it a Neymar. I thought it was rubbish.
Yeah. Okay. So going back to the game. So yeah, as you say, N'Golo Kante, he was so impressive. Like,
really was.
In a game that was just, the tempo was just completely insane. As far as I could see, and Kante he was there for every ball, to break up every Arsenal attack and almost to start every Leicester attack. So Mertesacker, I mean, I thought he had a pretty decent outing, and he probably should have scored. He should have scored. How did you see his outing, Jack?
I thought he played quite well. Why didn't Gabriel play? Did he get a hamstring injury or something?
He's got an injury, yeah.
Oh, jeez. Okay. He did quite well. I didn't think Vardy had much of a kick in the second half, personally, because obviously, his mate had gone off, been substituted because of the sending off even. But I think that he was kind of tested a couple of times and came up trumps, but it's both times. The header really, Vincent Kompany scores there for me. Potentially, unfortunately, John Terry scores there as well. It's difficult. I think that he did play a lot better than he has previously. But, you know, I'm starting to sort of love Per a little bit out the door now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I love the guy, as I said a couple of weeks ago, but I just can't see how we can build a title-winning side with him as a centre back. And I think
you might see it in the next couple of weeks, hopefully. But I think
crikey. But
I think the point more that I was going to raise is that, you know, it's only going to get worse from now on. Do you know what I mean? Because he's going to lose the pace that he has, which is terrifying.
So I'm trying to think what is slower than a tank. I mean, a snail. In terms of military hardware, maybe a JCB or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah.
You won't be the BFG here with the JCB now.
JCB.
But I also think Koscielny's lost. He's having a bit of a shock at the moment. I think. I can't. I think Henry. Did you see his combined team that he did for Spurs? Spurs and Arsenal, when he basically left Alderweireld, I think.
Thierry, mate, I think he's been around the France training camp too long, personally.
But I was a bit confused about that. So, I just think I'm concerned about, Koscielny and Mertesacker have been a decent partnership, but they're way too inconsistent. So going forward, some people have said it's just that he is on the way out, but I don't know, is he there is Gabriel enough? I'm not sure.
There's a supreme lack of very top quality centre halves at the moment. I don't know if you two know of any really top quality ones out there now.
Well, Laporta, Aymeric Laporta from Athletic Bilbao.
Rob, do you know any?
Laporta probably would have been the one I went to.
Godin.
Yeah, I'd quite like Diego Godin.
There's a German guy, a young German player. I can't remember his name, but I've just signed him on FIFA 16, and he's bloody brilliant.
What club are we talking?
Werder Bremen, potentially?
Naldo.
Or potentially Naldo, or Schalke, maybe?
Not Hervides.
No. But that's what I mean. It's very difficult to even kind of come up with any, apart from, you look at Matt Hummels or I'd throw a shout in for Dante or Jerome Boateng, but
I'm not sure about Dante now. Have to be honest.
Well, I think he's better than what we've got, personally. And he's only 24 or 25 years old, isn't he? So
yeah, he's still relatively young. So
yeah.
And Marquinhos at PSG is always a name that gets banned.
Marquinhos, yeah.
It was someone
overly convinced by John Stones either at the minute.
He's having a bit of a shocker at the moment.
Yeah. Not massively convinced by him, but
so like you say, it's difficult, and especially when you spend 70 million on a Man City defensive unit with Otamendi and
Mangala.
Mangala is just going to be shipped out by Pep Guardiola when he comes in, as far as I'm concerned. So it's an interesting point. So let's go on to the red card. Personally, I thought it's harsh, especially if he's not on a yellow. That's a yellow, but as I see it, I know it's difficult, but I think it was pretty harsh to give him a second yellow. I mean, Rob, what did you think?
I don't know. It is a bookable offence to pull him back. I didn't think it was such a bad decision. I don't quite think. I think Ranieri and a few Leicester fans are going, oh no, it wasn't a red, and Atkinson got influenced by the crowd. I mean, it's just hot. This is the Emirates. There is no crowd atmosphere.
Well, there was yesterday, but
there was.
It's weird having all these Leicester fans getting on their high horse now, isn't it? It's like, we're top of the league, and it's like, and fair play to them. They have the right to do that. All of a sudden, they're moaning at, same old Arsenal was cheating, and we'll always have that tag. It's fair enough, but I just think, and I mean, the thing is, when he got sent off, I mean, I wasn't convinced we were going to score, but I mean, you have to look at that as the reason why we won. Surely, as Claudio Ranieri said, with 11 against 11. They'd have won that, and I can't really disagree with that, Jack.
I think that this is football. There's controversial sending offs every week. For me, it was a red card. 2 yellows at least. The first one was idiotic, I thought, and he's just sort of lunged into Sanchez and done like a full Nelson throw over his shoulder, like an 80s WWE move or something. But the second one, listen, I'm old school. I think that doesn't really deserve a yellow card. It's kind of, you've got to be strong there and push the guy off the ball, or shoulder barge it and try and win the ball back. Ollie's obviously, flared up and, he's got his hair out of place or whatever and, smudged his mascara or whatever and he's got, a little bit upset by it. And I do think that maybe the reaction has, more than the actual foul itself, has not helped him. But you can't do that in the modern game. And he should have known that. But, I mean, it was harsh, but it was a red card. And I can see why the ref sent him off.
Yeah, I think that's a fair enough comment. But so Ozil again, I thought relatively peripheral figure, definitely sort of in the shadows, and I noticed his delivery he was failing to get over the first ball over the top. He kept meeting Drinkwater or Morgan again, who's just a colossus again as far as I'm concerned yesterday. But then when it counts in the last minute, he was there. And that's now 17 assists. That is his first one since the 28th of December, which is kind of an alarming stat, really. But again, he's only 3 off, I think it's Dennis Bergkamp's 20, if I'm right.
Henry's 20.
Henry's 20. I do beg your pardon, stand corrected. And then, obviously, onto the head of Mr. Danny Welbeck. When he came on, I just thought, I had a bit of texting around. I thought, right, let's get Joel on, get the Ox off, because he had a good first half, but then he fell away rather. And I thought, just Joel, he'd be snapping at the heels, and if anyone's going to get the ball back, he will. And so I saw Welbeck warming up. I'm not sure about this. And just as he was coming on, I got 2 texts. I was like, yeah, Welbeck's going to score the winner. And I was like, this is a bit risky. But there he is. And, he's been out for 10 months, and it was just phenomenal to see. And you could tell he was really emotional in the interview on Sky. But what I want to ask you is, does he start now? I mean, with the Cup next week, does he take the place of Theo Walcott? Rob, what do you think? Or anybody?
I would like to give him some minutes against Hull next week. I think he should start against Hull next week, assuming he's fully fit. I don't want to quite throw him into the deep end and he's not 100% recovered yet. But, Giroud needs a rest, to be quite honest. It's become a bit obvious in the last couple of games that we really failed to score, that being Arsenal's only fit striker has been a bit of a strain on him in the last month or so. So I think we've been crying out for another forward to take his place, and he's done excellent this season, Giroud, as well. After the summer, we were probably all crying out, going, Cavani and Benzema. And to be fair, I still do, but he has been brilliant this season.
Don't hide it. Yeah, I'm still not convinced that either of them will cut it in the Premier League, but we may see that in the future. Certainly, there's going to be a lot happening in the summer. Probably not at our club, but up there,
somewhere else.
We'll be watching on lovingly, in a sort of really bad lovingly way, in a loathing way, I guess you might say. Yeah, Jack. So, did you think? How do you see Giroud on Sunday? How did you see? Did you see enough of him?
I thought he played really well, personally. I do agree that he does almost kind of need not necessarily a prolonged period out of the team to rest, but he definitely sort of needs to just have maybe one game where he recovers, and I think Hull is the perfect game for that. Would I play Danny up front on his own the whole game? Maybe.
It is a risk, isn't it? Starting from the beginning.
Yeah. You could potentially level that with Walcott as well. Play Walcott through the middle and play with Danny on the right even. But I think, look, the guy's been out for 10 odd months or whatever, and Arsenal said he hasn't even really kicked a ball in anger in 10 months. He hasn't really had a comeback game or, anything really competitive or anything like that. And to find the vision and the the level of being able to find a position in the box to get his head on Ozil's cross was incredible. Really, really good. And you were right. Ozil dinking the ball in at the end there was sublime. But again, just sort of not really casting many shadows for me in this particular game. Alexi didn't.
Sorry.
Okay, blimey.
Sorry.
You criticised him. I thought it was all right.
Yeah, you say the word Ozil and it's like a red. I'm like a bull to the red face. It's like going through. Yeah. But I apologise for interrupting. Yeah, but I think that shows how important he is to the team, though. Again, he's in the shadows, and then when we need him, and he got man of the match for that. Well, according to Fantasy Premier League, he did anyway. I mean, that doesn't mean a jot, but and he's there. He's there when we need him. He can have a rubbish game, but
Yeah, it was certainly a cross. Well done, Mezip. The Alexi also didn't pull up many trees as well, unfortunately. But I
he's another one who he's got to play against Hull because he needs form.
And I think he needs a goal more than anything. Do you know what I mean? I kept noticing him cutting onto his right foot and trying to curl it round Kasper Schmeichel. Personally, I don't think you're gonna beat Schmeichel with one of those. He's not Shea Given. He's a bit better than him. But yeah, I think play both of them and Walcott potentially against Hull, and we should absolutely do them. Just a word on Walcott as well. I think that goal has summed up what Theo Walcott is. He's very much for me someone who is so instinctive and so has no time to think when he does things. The knockdown from Giroud was absolutely sublime. It was really good. And Walcott didn't have a second to think. He just had to lever it, and he did, and he scored, which was brilliant. But I think that's the problem with Theo, with him not having, this kind of mentality to do that on an often kind of situation. And also, he nearly got injured in the celebration when Olivier Giroud dislocated his shoulder. No, I think he did play quite well when he came on, Theo. And again, I think we should start him against Hull.
Yeah, for me, he changed the game, Theo, when he came on, which is fantastic to see. It's almost like if Theo didn't have a brain, it's almost had like a pair of just his running legs. It'd be even better. Do you know what I mean? But Rob, how do you think? Were you along the lines of, similar lines of how Theo when he came on? I think when he came on about 50, was it 63 minutes or 64? It was about because Wenger. It was an early substitution.
A typical off.
That's right. Yeah, I think it was 59th minute. Pretty soon after Maris came off, so it's almost like it was a reactionary substitution, which was really good to see from Wenger or Steve Bold, whoever it was.
Vic Akers.
Sorry?
Vic Akers.
Or Vic Akers even, yeah. Maybe. Stranger things have happened. But did you think, did you feel his impact on the game when he came on?
Yeah, finally getting on the score sheet as well. It does seem like quite a while. But yeah, I mean, I think that's always going to be Walcott's career in a way. It goes back to that IT crowd bit where they go, did you see that ludicrous what was he doing bringing Walcott on so early? Although he did bring him on quite early this time and he scored. But hopefully playing against Hull he will look quite good, but playing against Championship team. But I don't know about starting him in some of these games. I think a game like yesterday where it is sort of just trying to catch a team out with a bit of quicker pace is more his right. It sort of reminded me of that Barcelona game a couple of years ago when we were 2-0 down and he came on and changed it just because they couldn't really handle his pace.
Yeah, and it's strange though because everyone says, he should have started, but sometimes that's the way it happens. Like an impact player is a truly impact player, and he's. I
think if he had started, he'd have probably got caught into that. That he would have been marked out of the game or just wouldn't have been a factor, like I think you're about to say, to be fair.
Yeah.
Completely agree with you.
Yeah. You took the words out of my mouth. And hopefully, I think he'll start against Hull. I think, as you say, Giroud needs the rest, and it's the perfect the perfect opportunity for him to do so, and let's hope with the big run of fixtures coming up, which I'm going to come to in a little bit. Before I do that, if you want to get involved in the chat, you can. We've got the Facebook group, and you can get us on Twitter at @E_ArsenalNet, all one word, or you can contact any of us three, which we will give out the details at the end of the show. Yes, so I'm going to come to the rather thorny subject of Spurs, unfortunately. I'm not too sure. Some people are saying they're in the title race. I mean, mathematically they are now. I'm not too sure yet, because as the European campaign's about to begin this week, and when Spurs are in Europe, although they have got better at it this year, they tend to play on the Thursday and then lose ground on the Sunday, and with some big games, big games coming up, I'm hoping that's what's going to happen. Crikey, I'm hoping that's what's going to happen. I mean, Jack, are you taking Spurs seriously at the moment? Yeah, deep breath. At the side.
I feel like you have to at the minute. They have played not crap, which is the biggest compliment I can give them. I think Dele Alli is such a good find. I'm starting to eat my words a little bit about what has he done, and he's got a crap name like a bakery in somewhere, but it just keeps getting better for him, and it's really horrible. Harry Kane scored a dodge pen, and that's not his fault. He just scored the penalty. But I personally felt like their second goal was against the run of play against City.
It was, yeah. Absolutely, completely, yeah.
And I just think that I hope someone is going to just turn up and give him a bit of a tolerance. Personally, yeah. I mean, have they got to play anyone else apart from us coming up? Because
I'm going to read you the fixtures. So obviously we've got a really tough run of away games next. We've got United. I say tough, but it's always United. By the time we play Manchester United, I'm going to lay money that Jose Mourinho is going to be their manager. That's his first game. I think it's too early. But if it is, my God, I'm saying.
Ample time to break that record.
Yeah.
Yes, and funny enough, as we play Man United, Spurs are playing Swansea at home. And then the week after, we've got Swansea, and Spurs have got to go to West Ham.
Oh, Dimitri Payet, come on, son.
Looking at that. And then obviously, that's in midweek, and then 4 days later, we've got to go to the Lane.
Oh my God!
Goodness me! I mean, I'm nervous about that already. If the points are absolutely the same, and no one, we both take 6 from the next game. I mean, that's just such a monumental game now. It seems like it's...
I don't even want to talk about it. It's so terrifying. It's so scary. Because they are, they've got... The thing that everyone's saying about them is that they're not the most talented side that Tottenham have ever had, but they're just the best team they've ever had. They work hard for each other. They really kind of believe in the philosophy. Pochettino's just brilliant at the minute for them.
Yeah.
I think he's kind of their ace up their sleeve. He's just, he's able to motivate them and get things out of them that they haven't had before. Do you know what I mean? They're just Tottenham, and I hope that they'll just Tottenham it right in the Tottenham.
Largely that's largely what I'm expecting to happen.
Tottenham it right up the wall.
Tottenham it right in Tottenham. Yeah.
Because it's just they're so quick to be so vocal about the fact that they're the tide is shifting and the gap is closing and blah blah blibbity blue But here's a question, a counter question to you both. Then, who is the pressure on out of the top 3 now? Where does the pressure lie most? Do you think?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the pressure would switch to Leicester now massively. They've got Norwich at home, which you would think they would get 3 points out of that. But because now,
well, we've just got to wait for Norwich to go 2 goals up at this rate.
Yeah, right. But they've never been in this position before, and neither of Spurs. And I'm just hoping, particularly in 2 weeks' time, that Swansea, the team, just to jab it right in them. Just burst your bubble, go on, pop. So I mean, Rob, are you concerned about Spurs also?
I am very worried that in May I might have to leave the country and just join the tribe off like the coast of Africa somewhere with the rest of the Gooners.
What will we do? What will we do if we have no St. Totteringham's Day? What will we all do?
I don't know. I have already said to a few friends, like, I might just disappear in May, and you can text me saying it's safe to come back, or just I'd stay there for a few years.
Can I just point out though that okay, let's all take a step back here for a second. If the unthinkable were to happen and Spurs managed to climb to the pinnacle of this fantastic footballing nation and win the Premier League for the first time in their history.
It's like a dagger.
Hang on a second. That doesn't mean that the tide has changed or the gap has closed. That's not what that means. That means that they've achieved a minute amount of the same success Arsenal have achieved.
Unfortunately, though. Go on.
But hang on a second. When they've won the league twice at the Emirates, when they've gone the league unbeaten, when they've built a 61,000-seater stadium and filled it every single week, when they've gone and they've become financially stable as an organisation, when they've signed some of the best young players in the world and turned them into the greats that they were, and when they've signed our captain for nothing, that's when the tide has changed. And before that point, there's still a tiny little bus stop in Islington. Mic drop.
Nice.
Andy? I hear you, mate.
Yeah, I'm almost waiting to jump in right now. Dear, it doesn't bear thinking about. I think that my concern would be if they won the league, we would never hear the end of it. I mean, never mind Liverpool fans with their we won the Champions League. 11 years ago, whenever it was. Brilliant, fantastic. If Spurs won the league, it would just be unbearable. I mean,
don't worry, I've sorted it right in the top.
I said,
come on, Fiorentina, take them to penalties and lose.
Oh, come on, Fiorentina.
They've signed a hell of a lot of good players, Fiorentina, over the window. I can't remember.
So that's the point. If there's one thing that we can take out this season, I want Spurs to win the Europa League. That's what I want. They have to go all the way to the final, go for extra time and win it on penalties. That's what I want.
That is the question now I was going to put to you, as I was having a little bit of a chat with an Arsenal friend earlier on. And it's like, well, does Mauricio Pochettino what does he take more seriously, the league or the Europa League? What do you think? Because it's only the last 32 at the moment, but Spurs can go a long way.
I think he's, realistically, he would say to you, well, we just take, and it's a boring answer, but we just take every game as it comes. Yeah. We just play the opposition in front of us. You don't take one more seriously than the other. You just play your best team every single time out. And I know that's what I really like about him as a manager, that he seems to do that. He just wants to, if players are feeling a bit tired. I know that he didn't start Dele Alli the week gone, but he just turns it up a little bit and plays. In fact, it was the game before he did start him against Man City.
Yeah, he didn't start him because he was ill, I believe, and he was still slightly. Yeah, he was suffering dizzy spells or something like that.
But then I think if it's up to me, then they just go all the way in the Europa League, personally.
Yeah, like I said before, I don't really take Spurs. That's almost like Leicester, really. I think with Leicester, they don't have European commitments like us, like Spurs, like not Man United,
City,
like City, for example. Yeah, whereas Leicester don't, and then they can just focus. They're out of the cup. They're out of the FA Cup. It's just the league now. It's all the eggs into one basket, so it could favour them. It might work against them equally. But yeah, I mean, if Spurs are still top at the end of March, I'll take them seriously, but not right now. I know. I'll just pass over that. So let's just see what happens. Let's not panic too much. I think let's wrap things up there.
Can I just point out, just before we finish, Neil, I'm really sorry to interrupt you there, but no one in the media seems to have spoken about Danny Drinkwater's tackle on Aaron Ramsey. And I just feel that this is a platform that we need to address this on, because it was an absolutely shocking tackle.
And he apologised for it.
Yeah, but, I think that there needs to be more focus on this, because if Aaron hadn't, sort of jumped over him almost, he would have broken his leg. And it was an awful challenge, and I think that I don't know what you two made of it, but I just think that it was something that needs to be
glossed over. I have to be honest.
Yeah.
I just really feel that it's something that we need to look at again, and not maybe ban the guy, but really sort of pay attention to these kind of incidences, even though he wasn't punished at the time. What's your kind of opinion on that?
I think because he had the yellow card, made more of a fuss that it should have been a second red. But I think probably the referees, he looked at the situation and thought, right, hold on, they've already got a man down, so I might just go a bit easy on them. Is it Martin Atkinson? I mean, that's completely wrong. That's a completely wrong approach. But yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting point because it has been glossed over in the media largely, and I can't remember. I remember seeing the tackle, but now, I mean, I haven't brought it up on the podcast. So it's a very good point, Jack. Very good point.
Yeah. Sorry, I just wanted to just raise that.
No, it's a good point well made. Rob, quickly.
I think it probably got glossed over just because of how the game ended, I presume, and also because there was the red card earlier in the day. So because it sort of, if that had been the one talking point, I think that would have been something that was brought up quite a lot. But
maybe you're right.
The game ended as it did, and it already had a man sent off. I think it was just a talking point that just hasn't quite been made elevated so much, perhaps.
Yeah,
but still, I mean, it is something that should be looked. I'm glad he apologised for it, and by all accounts, it seems to have been accepted, I think, by Ramsey, unlike another famous tackle.
He wasn't
a while to be apologised for.
Yeah, I mean, goodness knows we need another leg-breaking tackle because it's ended well. At one of our potentially finest midfielders that could have been. And unfortunately, Carl Henry, but never mind. So yeah, we'll wrap things up. We will actually wrap things up there. And so thanks very much for listening. So we've got Hull coming up. Is it on Sunday, boys, or is it on Saturday? I think it's Saturday.
I believe it's Saturday. Yeah, the day before my birthday.
And it's on BT Sport. Happy birthday for then. So that's.
Thank you very much. Happy birthday for last week.
Thank you very much. Anything else? No, sorry. I expected sort of Rob to come in and say, "Oh, my birthday's in I don't know."
Oh no, my birthday
July or something. Is it in July? I don't know. I'm not clairvoyant.
No, it was about 4 weeks ago now.
I was going to say you do have one every year.
I don't even know what it is.
It's not on the leap year. I've realised it is a leap year this year. But...
Yeah.
Yes.
No, it was the 19th of January. For anyone that cares.
Happy birthday,
happy
mate.
Birthday for Ben. Happy birthday for Ben. So yeah, thanks very much for listening. We will come back to you probably on Sunday, doing probably a shorter FA Cup show because hopefully it'll be boring and we'll have trounced Hull 6-0. And then it was, but in fact we will concentrate more this weekend. So let's just do that. Yeah. So Jack, thanks a lot.
No worries.
Twitter handle, please.
My Twitter handle is @diamond__Jack, and I'm actually going to Barcelona away as well. So hopefully you can join me from sunny Spain while I'm out there as well.
Excellent. Rob.
Yeah, Rob Tongerson 94. Sorry, just jumping in my Twitter.
Yeah, say it again, please. Say it again.
Oh, sorry, Rob Tongerson 94.
This really does have the feeling of a hungover podcast. And can you imagine if we did this yesterday? My word, we'll be absolutely over the shop. So I've been Neil, your host. You can get me on Twitter @the91st Neil. That's @the91STNEIL. We've got a Facebook group. You can contact us more widely on our Twitter handle _ArsenalNet. And so go ahead and do that. So we'll be back next week. Thanks a lot for listening. See you later.